Welcome to the Bowel Chronicles, where we dive deep into the world of bowel health. I'm your host, Nicky Kilpatrick, and on this podcast we have raw and candid conversations with individuals facing various bowel conditions and illnesses. Through personal stories and shared experiences, we illuminate resilience and courage in the face of adversity. Be reminded that each story is personal and unique. These conversations are not to be taken as medical advice or to replace guidance from a doctor or healthcare provider. Our aim is to inspire and empower through these amazing stories, amplifying voices often unheard. So join us as we embark on this journey together. Sit back, listen, and be inspired. Enjoy the episode. Welcome everyone to our first episode of the Bowel Chronicles. I'm your host, Nicky Kilpatrick, and today I'm joined by the amazing James from Bonnie, Scotland. James, it's so good to have you here with us today to share your story. And we've been in contact now for the last couple of months since you have been post-surgery yourself. You actually tracked me down, found me online, and who would have thought that this crazy girl sharing her story on social media would have led to you being here today, sharing your story publicly on this podcast. But before we start into things today, I just want to take this opportunity to let everyone know that this is a special story we're sharing today. All stories are special, but this one I've been honoured to feature in, and over the last couple of months walk alongside you, James. So it's been an honour and a privilege as you have been navigating this difficult journey. And so I officially want to mark this moment of launching this podcast today for you, James, because this is going to be a story that's going to remain on this platform for a very long time. And I want to make our viewers and listeners aware that today we are sharing a terminal story. We are sharing an emotional one. And we share this not to discourage anyone or cause distress, but to show the reality of life and chronic bowel conditions and terminal illnesses. So as we get started, again, James, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being vulnerable, being here today and sharing that with us. And we're just going to roll with this today and take it as it comes. So James, you are 50. I think you had a big birthday last year. And you have had a diagnosis of ulcerative colitis. You are living life with an ileostomy, and most recently you have had a terminal diagnosis of bowel cancer. And to get things rolling here, we'll just go back and we'll start off with you telling us a little bit about life prior to your diagnosis of ulcerative colitis and what life looked like for you.
Yeah, hi Nicky. So I got diagnosed 2019 with ulcerative colitis. Going back probably, I would say a year prior, probably 2018, 2017, I noticed a difference in my bowel movements. My bowel movements were quite regular, so I knew when I was going and things like that. And the job I was doing at the time, I knew before I headed out, knew I was going to go to the toilet. And then about probably 2018 was when things started to change for me with bowel movements. I noticed that I wasn't going when I needed to go, but when I thought I was going to go, it would then just come on middle of the day. Sometimes it would be all the way to nighttime. It was just never a consistent pattern. And then obviously ignored it, thinking, that's when I need to go. I'm not thinking anything of ulcerative colitis or bowel disease at that time. And it progressed quite on to the fact that it then changed from actually having a proper toilet episode, like actually having a stool movement. It progressed to being just like the water and the mucus. Almost, I took it to be diarrhea sort of thing. I thought, I've obviously picked up a diarrhea and a bug. Again, didn't go anywhere near a doctor, didn't do anything, trying to manage it all myself. Still eating and drinking and doing stuff with my job, but but it got to a point where it was starting to be painful.
Painful as in stomach painful, rectum discomfort.
Yeah, I was getting bloated quite a lot. The stomach cramps came in. I'm not a huge person, you know, I'm quite slim, athletic. So I noticed I was getting quite bloated, very down by the belly area. And I thought, you know, that's a bit unusual. Because I'm quite a fit, athletic guy at the time. So I went to the doctor and explained the issues, and he had a look again, and he didn't pick up on it was IBD or anything like that at that time.
Okay.
He said he gave me some tablets to for the bloating and things like that, and I got some antibiotics for trying to think. He thought maybe I picked up a bug. So we went through the period of that. It passed. I went back to being kind of normal, going back to a stool. But then coming into 2019 was when it started to be really painful, going to the toilet. And that's when I thought, right, there's something not right. And it was about October 2019 when it really, my worst episode kind of, where it was so painful I couldn't even walk. And that's when I had to go to A&E. And then that's when, through the escaloscopy, you know, the camera, taking biopsies, and that's when they diagnosed that, look, you've got ulcerative colitis. We'll give you the treatment, IV treatment to hit it to start with, and things like that. So that was 2019.
Were you admitted to hospital at this time?
I was down for the camera, expecting to be in for the day and out again, but they kept me in for about 3 days to get me in with this IV to get the swelling down, because I noticed there was starting to be like inflammation on the large colon, quite close to the rectum area. So they did keep me in for 2 days to hit that with steroids and things like that, and it brought the swelling down. I did another camera before I got released, and they were said, right, here's your. I got put on tablets for ulcerative colitis. Then met a dietitian who says, look, you need to start cutting out this. Think about your foods, because I was going out with clients, you know, eating very rich foods, you know, drinking wine, alcohol, thinking all normal things.
Okay.
But then getting told that you've got this, then reading about it, you can't do this, you can't do that. I thought, wow, that's a change.
And obviously that was the advice from the dietitian, because those are all things that can cause flare-ups and exacerbate it. And
my consultant from the my IBD, they were basically repeating what the dietitian was saying, and I got some. That's when I then started getting the leaflets and the booklet about IBD, you know, ulcerative colitis, what it is, what causes it, symptoms, then things that you can do, you know, to make it your flare-ups not as regular as, you know, don't keep it to a minimum. They're not saying you never said that you're not going to have another flare-up, but you can help, you know, to keep it to minimalize. And that was then talking about the diet stuff. And that's when I read the booklets, and that's when I seen, you know, the ostomy bag, and potentially, you know, if it gets worse, this is what you can have. And I always thought to myself, I don't want to get to that stage. You know, that was 2019. I thought, right, I don't want to be having a bag. Didn't think anything bad of it. That shocked me. I thought, well, I don't want that, you know. So I did change a little bit of my diet, you know, didn't change my working plan. I kept that the way it was. I'm still working hard, being very busy in London, you know, being busy. And then a couple of years passed, I thought, great, you know, we've got on top of it. You know, I have the odd little occasion, but nothing to where I was. So I thought, great, you know, back to normal, back to life. Back doing the things that I loved, eating and drinking, and, you know, the usual.
So steered away from what the advice of the dietitian was, went back to your normal eating habits.
A little bit. I stuck to I went lactose, you know, gluten free. So changed my milk to soya, you know, for having it. But I cut down on cheese and things like that. I did that side of it.
Right.
But I didn't go further into actually proper meals, you know, like eat more of this, more of that, and less of the red meat, you know, things that can trigger spicy food, you know. I didn't really cut back on that, to be honest with you. I tried to keep, because I was going out with clients and I was trying to keep, you know, eating out, enjoying myself and things like that.
Be no different to everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And I told the work about the IBD, you know, I was honest with my work and HR and my boss, and he was, you know, he said, that's fine, you know, he He said, how's that? I said, look, it's not going to impact my job. It's just me personally. He said, there might be a time where I might be tired and if I'm going through an episode, I might need to not come into the area. I might need to just stay at home. But I was allowed to work from home anyway. So I was able to work around my flare-ups and stuff. But when I was out in London, I was at, top restaurants, eating all the fancy stuff, coming home, and then I would cut out a little bit of dairy thinking that'll work. And then, like I said, we then came to like 2023. No matter what I did, just wasn't working. I had a flare up, or I started off as a flare up. Got really bad cramps, felt really like something was crushing inside me. And then again, when I was going to the toilet, it was all just basically, it's just, I was needing to go to the toilet, it was just mucus, the water, not a lot of stool activity. And then obviously there was blood starting to appear, which I've never had before.
So that was a new symptom for you?
Yeah, that was a new symptom for me, seeing the blood when I was at the toilet. And I was like, wow, I thought that's not right. It was more when I was wiping myself and the blood was there rather than it was inside the stool or inside the mucus. So I thought, right, and when I was wiping myself, that's when I felt the pain right at the start of the rectum. And I went to the GP and made him aware. And he says, right. So obviously he had a look. He went, yeah, I can see. You've got like they call it a feather, is what they call it, and that's like where it swells that much, it then ruptures. And starts to bleed. It's like a sore. You would probably relate it to. It's almost like having a cold sore. That kind of was really hard, and then of course it's kind of like that, but it's on the inside of the rectum.
Right.
So that's where the blood was coming from. So he said, I'll book you in for an appointment for a camera with your consultant. But then that took 2 weeks to get that appointment. And in the weeks prior to being at the GP, this would have been round about, I would say about October, November last year. 2023. I got home from the doctors, waiting for him, doing what I needed to do. He gave me cream, to wipe, after you've done the toilet, really wipe yourself. I was using wet wipes, to wipe myself. Then dry myself, then applying this cream. And it was sore, but manageable. But then it got so bad progressively from there. It got to the point where I just couldn't walk. It was really, the pain inside was just terrible.
So debilitating. It sounds.
Yeah,
it sounds absolutely horrendous. Like, what was your mental health like at this point, James? How did you feel? Could you eat? You were weak. You weren't able to work, were you? Or
obviously, I just worked predominantly from home, but then had to cut it back with all being at the doctor and GP. I said that I'm going to take some sick leave. I said I've got to get this under control, see what's happening, and the work was fine. Yeah, so I took sick leave. They were happy with that, I stopped eating because I thought I don't want to eat because I don't want to go to the toilet. So yeah, so I stopped having meals. Not eating at all. I just did not want to eat. Drank fluids, drank water. Didn't really do any teas. Just fluid and juice. Having my tablets, and I just couldn't face anything. I didn't even feel hungry anyway because of the bloatiness in my belly and stuff like that. When I was taking my tablets, I felt like they were just sitting on my chest. Not really digesting them. I was still going to the toilet because I had the urges, because obviously I had stool inside me that wanted to, come out. So that even though I stopped eating, I still felt the urge to go. So you've got to go. And sitting down there and just getting, then eventually some stool came out, and that was the tipping edge. And that happened. It was, so painful. So we went to the A&E ourselves, me and my mum. And we had to get a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. Went to A&E. Doctor had a look straight away, goes, right, you're going for a camera. Well, they did the x-ray first. He says, you're going for an emergency camera. So I waited and got taken away for a camera. Seen the consultant. Wasn't my one, it was another consultant from the department. He got the sedation, to help with the pain. And the numbing gel and stuff like that. he could only go in probably about 2 inches. It was that
Wow.
badly inflamed, and he, being who he is, just like, I'm going to stop. You know, I can't go further, but I can see it's painful. He says, and it's really swollen. I don't want to cause any more damage.
Yes.
He was able to take where he was. It was about 4 biopsies. So he took 4 biopsies inside. I got put into like a holding area from the camera, and then they took me up to just like admissions wards, just to give me some fluids. They could see that I was drained, exhausted. So I had that waiting for the results. And it was about probably about, I would say, under a day to maybe day the doctor was in with the result. Says, yeah, look, it's your colitis. It's really bad. But there was another doctor, cancer doctor.
Right.
That was when they said that they found the cancer. So yeah.
Okay, so this is all. This is October, November 2023.
23.
And up until this point, you had been living life down in London, working away, business head on, normal life. Your toilet habits had all been regular, totally normal. And then all of a sudden, 2017, 2018, things started to change and progress to the point in 2019, you eventually have this diagnosis of ulcerative colitis, IBD, and you get your treatment and you go on for another couple of years and a really bad flare-up. You had travelled back up home to your relatives in October time when you were feeling really, really unwell. And then that led to this massive flare-up, being admitted to the hospital to see what was going on. The colitis was major flare-up, so uncomfortable. Camera test done, and here now you're hit with, this is not just IBD we're dealing with bowel cancer. Okay. And it's amazing that you actually had your family around you for support at that time, because you were so weak, you were so vulnerable, mentally, physically, emotionally drained, and now you're hit with this. Now I've got bowel cancer. And so you're in hospital. What did that look like from your diagnosis of we're dealing with bowel cancer? What did you know? What was their form of treatment, or what was the plan whilst you were there in hospital then?
They wanted, obviously, with only going in so far, they could only see a little bit, and with the biopsies where they were, there was cancer. They wanted to know how far in the large bowel. Is it just a large bowel? Has it gone anywhere else? You know. So at that point, they only knew it was at the rectum area. You know, just past the rectum area, going at the start of the large colon. That's where it was. That's as far as they could go. They couldn't go all the way for the rounds through the large colon. So they did MRI scan and CT scan with the contrast, because obviously that was to help highlight things. And from doing that, they saw that my colon was like twice the size what it should be, and it was all the way around the colon, my bowel, at that point. And they were like, "Wow." He then did another camera, and this time he says that it's going to be a little bit painful. He says, "But we need to go further to get biopsies, or it's either that we've got to do surgery, go in that way, but they'd rather do it this way. It's less invasive." Obviously painful to me, because it's, I mean, let's say it you know, your normal bowel would have apparently an opening like that, but mine was so small. It was like reduced drastically. I think it was virtually just about the size of the camera. You know, the thickness of the camera was what was the space that was left. So they did the second camera. It was painful, but I had to persevere because I wanted to know myself. So biting down quite a bit. So they did that, and they actually got more biopsies. And by the time they did that, got back to the ward, they had the results of the CT scan, the MRI scan came back, and that was when they said, right, that was the Friday, which was January at this point. They then said, right, we've got to do this. We've got to remove your colon. It's badly swollen. You're not in a great state. It's cancer there. We need to remove it. So that was the Friday the 26th, I think it was. And then Saturday, I was in Saturday morning, very next day for surgery. Went through that. Did the ileostomy surgery.
Okay.
So obviously now I have the ostomy bag. They removed all my colon, but while they were in there, they looked around my main organs and things like that. They took the opportunity while I was in surgery to do what they needed to do. So apparently my surgery, I went in at, I believe I was told I was in it. I remember being in at 8:30, and I think they said I didn't come back up to the ward till about high dependency unit till about 6 o'clock at night. It was that long. There was different surgeons there. There was obviously the ileostomy surgeons, but then there was the cancer surgeons as well to do their investigation bit. Then it was both teams' plan of action. What do we do now? The plan was, right, finish the ileostomy, see me back up, because they saw how far it was. And then I woke up Saturday night about 10 o'clock at night, and it was Sunday. I started to feel the drugs were wearing off, a lot of pain in my chest and stuff, but then that was because I had to do a lot of air inside me. They had to expand the chest so they can investigate and move all my organs around. So when I came out on the Saturday night at 10, God, I felt like there was a truck sitting on my chest. That was so painful. The Sunday, like I say, I was on morphine for the pain, for the chest, and I was then able to sort of talk to people. I was taking things in. They didn't want to just come to me straight away, and the surgeons waited till the Monday to say, right, here's what we've done. Obviously, I could see the bag. So obviously, when I woke up, I was, I have this bag now, and seeing that for the first time, I was like, that was, yeah.
Okay, so just let's hit on that for a wee second. So James, you're living with an ileostomy, so they've removed your entire large bowel because of the cancer in there and the inflammation. So what that looks like now for you is your food goes into your stomach, slightly into the small bowel, and then you have a part of your small bowel brought out through an opening on your abdomen, and attached to that then is a stoma bag, and that's how your stool, your feces leaves your body. Now, I just want to make our listeners and audience aware of that, because not everybody knows what a stoma is or an ostomy is unless you can relate to someone that you know in your family or your community that understands it.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah. So the ileum is the bit. This is basically my small bowel that's sticking out. This is the bit that joined onto the large bowel. But what they've done for me was they had to go further into the small bowel a bit, because they were scared, because the large bowel was so active with cancer. They didn't want it to be inside the small bowel, so they went from the connection, because normally they would just remove that connection and bring that out. But what they've done was they went further back. They cut a little bit of the small bowel away as well, just to try and think, right, if we come back this much, hopefully, they didn't see anything on the small bowel, but they didn't want to take that joint risk, so they went back a little bit and brought that out. So the small bowel's coming out. The cancer is in there, the small bowel. So
okay, let's talk about whenever you woke up from surgery and you had this stoma bag. You literally had not even 24 hours notice of, this is the surgery we're going to do, and we're doing it tomorrow. It needs done ASAP. And what did that feel like, coming around, seeing the stoma for the first time, seeing this bag attached to you? How did you feel?
It was the ABD consultant, really nice lady, Mrs. Patterson, sorry. She was really nice throughout building up to this, and she was the one that came with the results of the second camera and things, and they were hitting me with biological treatment at the time on IV.
Yes.
Infomax or something, I think like that it's called, and it's a new treatment. It's a new biological. So they were keen to try me to see if it would work. Like,
yeah.
And you meant to have a dose of that. It would take like 10 hours to get put in. It would impact straight away your bowel.
Okay.
And hit the colitis. Any swelling and things like that. Fight it, compact it, reduce the swelling. And you're meant to wait like 4 weeks before you get second dose. Well, they waited like 5 days, and then they gave me the second one and did all that. And then that's at that point, after about 5 days of having that, they thought there might be start to see a difference. We did the second camera, and it was that when she had the results on the Friday, she says, we need the surgery. And at that point, I was told that surgery might not happen until maybe next week. I've got to get put into the schedule. It might not be till next week, but we're going to go ahead. We're going to remove your bowel. You're going to get an ileostomy. I thought, yeah. And then the consultant says to me at the time, says, I'll get the stoma nurses and people come and see you, talk to you, explain, what is this stoma? What is this stoma? What is the ileostomy? What is it going to look like? And how I'm going to go forward, sort of thing.
Okay.
Nothing about the cancer. It was all about, for them, it was just obviously they're just the stoma guys, the stoma team. And I thought, right, okay, so she should expect the stoma nurse to come up and see you and things. I thought, right, okay. And that was on the Friday midday. Luckily and thankfully, my mum was there, my family, to hear this as well. So mum was like, trying to take it all in as well. She's been really good. And then had my dinner. And then I thought, right, I'm going to get the weekend to get it in my head. I'm going to have this surgery. I've got a weekend to take it in Saturday, Sunday. Come Monday, I think that's when things, in my head, I'm thinking Monday is when it will start to move, seeing people. Friday night, just out of the blue, about 9 o'clock at night, two surgeons appeared, in their full get up Friday night, got greens and all the rest of it. Took me by surprise. Very nice people, though, in it just themselves. Dr. Price is the surgeon for the ileostomy. Really nice. Spoke to me and says, I'm going to be the surgeon. I believe you need the ileostomy. And he came and hugged my belly, my gut, talking about where it's going to go. So he made a pen mark, right, we're going to go here. So it's your hospitalization won't be coming out your right-hand side. But yeah, try to take it in. And he says, are you happy? I don't want to do the surgery if you're not comfortable, you're not ready. We don't want to put you in there under any stress because it's going to be stressful as it is. So we want to get you in the right frame of mind. And I was like, yeah, says, look, it needs to happen. I can't ignore it. We need to have this ileostomy. I said, yeah, no, look, I'm all set. I'm all for it. I said, yeah. And he went, great. He said, good, we'll get you in Saturday morning. And I was like, wow.
Wow. That's literally like less than 12 hours you were planned.
I mean, that was about
on the
9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I was just talking to him and he went, right, I'll get you in tomorrow morning. He says, I've got to look at the schedule, see who else is coming in, emergencies and things like that. He says, but we'll definitely get you Saturday.
Wow, that's
so
incredible.
Again, I thought. So mum had left at that point because obviously it was 9 o'clock at night, So she just missed the surgeon. So I was on the phone, and then when he left, telling my mum and my daughter, the surgeon's been, I'm having it tomorrow. So they were surprised and shocked. So I made them aware, and I said, I don't know when tomorrow, just go wait and see. And then in the morning, woke up about 7 o'clock, and then at 8, I seen a lot of people walking around in all the green surgery gear. And I was like, it could be more than just me having surgery, because I was in like a bay at the time, didn't have a separate room. And then, they came over to me. And this was like 8 o'clock. Right, James, are you ready? We're going to take you down. So yes, it was like the first operation of the day.
Wow.
So like I say, I did, so the mental side of it for me was with the stoma, is hearing other people their stories is I didn't see a stoma nurse. Didn't see a bag, didn't know what it looked like. Understood what they were doing, but still didn't quite understand, how is it going to look? How big is this? All I had was going to be a bag. I thought, how big is this bag going to be?
Right, okay,
because I was still at that point thinking, I want to try and get that to some sort of normality a little bit, It cancer at the time they came around. I hadn't been told at that point that it was, well, it was terminal. As far as I knew, there was cancer in the bowel. They're doing this to remove it. So I was still thinking, being positive, like, yeah, they've caught it early. They're going to hit it. So I was thinking to myself, I've always worked. I thought, get back to normal, get back to work, recover, get back to work things. So I think, in a way, when looking back, I'm quite happy. I didn't really have time to think about it, to be honest with you.
Okay, yeah.
The habit come around so quick. Yeah, I didn't have a chance to think. I didn't really sleep. I never slept during the night.
Yeah.
When the surgeon left, so my brain was racking, talking to my mum on the door. Things were running around, I goes, you'll be fine. I goes, yeah, it's tomorrow now. Thinking I had next week, gone from being really nice to very anxious. Then there was a nurse who was in charge of the ward, pulled the curtain around. After he spoke to the surgeon and went away, he pulled the curtain around, and his name was Brian. Really nice guy. Because I'd been in that ward now for about a couple of weeks. So I got to know quite a few of them, and he was the charge nurse, really nice. He pulled the curtain around and I says, everything all right? He goes, yeah, I'm just checking, see if you're good. Yeah. He said, I believe you're having surgery, an ileostomy, but I have a stoma back. But yeah. He went, I've got one. He had a stoma back.
Wow.
So I was like, we would seen him walking around doing the job. I thought, really? And he
normal human being.
He undid his uniform and showed me where his bag's on the right hand side as well, and he showed me the bag.
Wow.
And I goes, wow. And that's when, he says, look, best decision I made was having this. You look at me now, I've got my job back, I'm living life. Yeah, I've got to do diets and things like that. He says, but it's the best decision. He says, you'll manage it, no problem. And I was like, great, thank you. That put me at ease a little bit to see, I thought, well, if he can do it, with the bag, I can do it. So that settled me a little bit, at night.
And so whenever you were getting to this point, you had actually been in hospital for several months. I think you said you were in hospital like Christmas time, New Year's time, all over Christmas, and now end of January, there you were going in for this ileostomy surgery, removal of the large bowel, and potentially life-saving and life-changing surgery. So you thought, and you come out of surgery, now getting used to this stoma. You were in hospital for a couple of weeks post-surgery. Isn't that right? Yeah. So at what point post-surgery you left hospital? I believe you maybe took on well again. At what point did they start to break the news or realize that this cancer was terminal and gave you that diagnosis?
So when I had the surgery, these both surgeons I saw on Sunday just to see how I was feeling, checking the stoma, make sure my wounds weren't weeping and things like that. They tried to do keyhole to get the bowel out, which they couldn't do. They had to make a big incision just below my belly button, horizontally across my body, because it had been doubled the size. They just could not get it out of any of the keyholes I had. They'd made 5 attempts. With keyholes, I've got 5 keyhole wounds going around the bag. And then I make the big one in my belly. That's when they took it out, and that's when they decided to go investigate this cancer, because they saw it going into the small bowel, and I think they noticed it straight away that it had come out of the bowel and started to infect all the rest of the digestive system and organs with this cancer. And then, but let's say they took some samples while I was open. So I saw the ileostomy surgeon Sunday, and the doctor for the cancer came and saw me on the Monday. And he says, look, we've done biopsies, we've got the results back, we rushed these through. And that's when he said it's throughout your body.
Okay, so
that's like your lungs, kidneys, my digestive tract, just basically in the blood. It was like starting to be everywhere. He says, what we're going to now take you for. He says, while I was under, he says, just let you know he says, we give you a blast of radiotherapy while you were there because you were open.
Right.
So we hit it with radiotherapy to get right at the points in the main areas. So I had radiotherapy while I was in the surgery. That's why it was so long, because I did the surgery and then do the radiotherapy and then go in and then obviously close everything up. Now he says, we've got to give you chemo. He says that will start today. That was Monday morning. He says it's going to start today. We'll get the chemo treatment going. We're going to put you in the side wards. Give you, because I was still in the bay at the time. He said we'll give you a room because this is going to be extensive. So I had extensive chemotherapy. That's why it took another couple of months for me to come out.
And so you're only out of hospital 10 days, heading towards 2 weeks. And during this time, just to give our listeners a bit of context as to how we started our friendship and have been in regular contact. You got out of hospital and someone advised you to try and find other people who were in similar situations or could relate to living life with a stoma, because that was all very new and trying to get your head around that. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I had the Macmillan nurses with the cancer side from the hospital, so that was all in hand. I was getting all the information, what's going to happen with the chemo, how it's going to impact your body, how you're going to feel, things like that.
But,
so they were really
relating to people with stomas or whatever, and I think was a friend of yours advised you to try and track down similar people, and that, I want to say Instagram or TikTok, you found this random crazy girl sharing her journey, and we started to interact.
So I mean, it was like I was talking to my really close friend who was down in London, and he says, look, they were Googling, and she looked, there's a lot of chat groups, Insta, TikTok, have a look, don't be frightened. He says there's loads of people have this stoma and living with it, and he says, I know you've got the cancer bit of it, but the stoma, because getting used to changing the bag and things like that, and people living it, and then that's when I found Patrick Coach, and I thought, so started watching 3 videos that you were doing, and then realizing that your surgery was like a day before mine.
That's right. I had my surgery the day before, and
I replied to some of your videos, said I like Bowel, and I started throwing questions at you. You started answering them, and I think I started to just bombard you every video.
No, you asked me questions about my dietary plan, what that looked like, what I could eat, and fitness wise how I was feeling, because those were all things that you were trying to work towards and navigating. And then I realized we were chatting on Instagram and TikTok, and I was like, oh, this is the same guy. And at one point you were like, I've walked 200 yards today, and I'm like, that's amazing, you're doing incredible. And then the next thing you would say, oh, I'm having chemo. And I'm like, what? You're back in hospital? Because you left hospital the day after me. We were both in hospital for 2 weeks post-surgery. And I couldn't believe that then you were back in hospital. And you said the chemotherapy at that point you had, but you ended up back in hospital and you were feeling extremely unwell. And then this diagnosis appeared to me as an outsider, came out of nowhere, because I remember it clearly on the Thursday morning having an upbeat kind of message back and forwards with you. You'd been feeling okay, you were planning on a walk that afternoon, and then all of a sudden I remember getting a message after tea time, and you had all of a sudden dipped. You had started to vomit, feel really unwell, and it was almost like you had gone into a fever type thing. And within a couple of hours, you broke the news to me that you had been told that your diagnosis was terminal, and you basically didn't know how long left that you have. That it all came around like pretty quickly. Am I right?
I mean, the time they've put on that is 12 months. But obviously you can't. They said, look, we it's an estimation. You may go past you may go low. It just we just we reckon, going by the growth scale is what they judge it by, but because it's hitting the major organs,
yes,
that's where it's just so unpredictable.
But
so
this was I know for me, as someone that was interacting with you daily, this was like someone just bashed my head off a wall of, this is a total shock. Where did this come from? I didn't see this coming. Thought you'd been blasted with radiotherapy, you'd had chemotherapy, then you'd taken on well, and that afternoon is whenever they said to you, the chemotherapy your body hasn't responded, it hasn't been successful.
No, I hadn't. It impacted it a little bit, but because the amount and where it is, it was just impossible that the chemo would kill it, slow it down. I mean, it slowed it down. That's what chemo will do. Yeah, but in some cases, depending on how bad it is, it can, stop it, reverse any more growth, kill the growth that's there. But I have just that much. They would say I would have to just stay on chemo for, and the fact that it's not going to change anything. It was a decision between me and the surgeon this chemo's horrible. It just drains you, makes you sick, tired, exhausted. Family have got to be there to help you, do the basic daily needs, take you to the toilet, help you get washed, help you get dressed. Like I said to you, my mum's, in her 80s, and dad's, let's say, this year he's going to be 96. So at that time he was, 95. And to ask him to help his son to the bathroom and things like that. So then it was a case of like managing where I am now and then obviously I've got carers coming in, every day.
Yeah. So you decided that was okay. You were going to stop chemotherapy. It wasn't being successful, that your quality of life is better outside of chemotherapy, and you want to enjoy the time that you have with a better quality of life, being able to make memories and do the things you want to do before the end, basically. And so you are now in palliative care. Things have been put in place. You have the Macmillan nurses coming into you. You've now finally left hospital 10 days ago. After being in there for months, and you're getting back to normality, albeit at home, being looked after, the carers coming in, keeping an eye on you during the day. I mean, over the last few days, this week has just been incredible because you have been able to leave the house. You've been able to go and have lunch with your family, go to the garden centre. You were planning on going to the farm with your family, and the other day when we had a FaceTime call, I think you're in the museum right now. You had walked there, had a coffee, had a Rice Krispie bun independently, and then gone into town with your daughter afterwards. I mean, for me as an outsider looking in on it, I am just so proud of the journey that you have been on, and navigating this. And I know it's so difficult, and we have had very raw, candid conversations about things that you have to put in place, things that have to be done. And nobody likes discussing terminal illness and dying, and let's just be very real with this, but it's the circle of life. And so I've chosen as a friend to walk alongside you and help you navigate this as an outsider, because I know talking to people outside of your circumstances definitely helps with the mindset, and it helps you with being more accepting. And I don't know, can you ever accept the diagnosis of being terminal and knowing that you only have a limited amount of time, and you don't know when that's going to happen? James, how are you feeling within yourself, breaking that news, getting that news, explaining that to your parents? You have a daughter, and how are you coping with that?
I mean, the reason to go behind to just stop the chemo was because I've got one daughter, Kirsten, who is the world for me. I had a chat with her, and also she's expecting her first grandchild July. So it was like, I wanted to be fit as I could be for that.
Yes.
And then now what I'm trying to do now is finding a way to build memories. So yeah.
So you have a bucket list in place, you know, there's things that you want to do, there's goals you want to set in place, there's things you want to focus on. And we've had those chats of there are legal things, there are financial things, there are all these things that you have to put in place, which then you can park and put to the side, knowing everything is taken control of, and you can invest your time and your energy into Kirsten and your mum and dad and your entire family in creating as many memories as possible. And I think that is like, it's the ideal way to go. And you've some exciting trips that you want to embark upon whilst you can, isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got to have a bit of guidance from, you know, the carers and the doctors. Obviously, you've still got to go and see consultants and see how you're going and tests. I've got I think about 3 weeks. I think I've got another X-ray to see how things are following post-surgery. And that's with the IBD consultant as well. But as long as the past couple of days have been great, you know, getting out and actually, like you say, just walking to a coffee shop and going to town, meet my daughter again, just me and her, you know, felt good because I haven't done that for months and months. So that was nice, and it's building its way. I don't want to get too excited and do too much. But the goal is like I said, is to do things that I wanted to do. Try and do stuff with Kirsten a lot more. You know, spend the quality time with her. And my tuition was like to leave London and stay out here permanently. Obviously, now what's happened, I don't want to be going back. I don't think Kirsten would let me go back anyway.
No.
So what I want to do on a positive note is do things that I want to do, but do it around with Kirsten, go on holidays. Now that would be like England and Scotland and things like that, and Ireland, you know, especially about, you know, now we're been nice to come across and see you face to face. Certainly do that. And then like do some videos like we were discussing, you know, do some videos for special birthdays for my granddaughter. I know it's going to be, well, we've been told it's going to be a girl, so
congratulations on going to be a grandpa.
So do videos for like our 16th or 21st, like you said. Get a birthday card. I never thought of doing that until you mentioned it yesterday. So it's been good talking to you, getting another opinion, and
and I think that's been a really crucial thing for you. Call it community, call it what you want, but you know, speaking to people outside of your family, your network, you know, expanding your network to speak to people who can speak into your situation and speak positivity into your situation, as difficult and heart-wrenching as it is. But you know, it's those little things as outsiders, like suggesting, why don't you get some birthday cards for your grandchild, you know, because you're not going to be here for a 16th birthday, you know, but it's nice then that you would feature throughout your grandchild's life, even though you're not here. And those are precious things. So as difficult as this situation is, there is those little positive things in it that you can implement whilst you still have time.
I would say to people that are in, even with the colitis or the cancer, is there is groups there, is to use them, because I've never been one for discussing health, mental health, even mental health, you know, my mind, where things are. And it is hard to talk to family. People say, like my mum and they're lovely, and they say, why can't you talk to me? It's not that I don't want to talk to them, it's a subject that I don't like talking about, but it needs to be talked about. And I find it easier talking to other people who are doing the same thing, because they understand your mindset, where you are in this part of the journey, because they've done it, you know, and you're hearing where they are and hearing that, oh, look, it's not always great. I have relapses and things like that. So since I've started talking to the groups, you know, using Instagram and TikTok and matching up with people, hearing their stories, which is amazing. And there's little things I think, oh yeah, that's happened to me, you know, leaks in the bag, and you know, and I would solely say to people that if you're going through any of that, is just have that chat. And it's amazing how you feel after you've, you know, explained, you know,
Yes.
got everything off your chest, you know, where your mindset, you know, it's like it's just nice to get it off you, you know, how you're feeling. And I'm not always going to have good days. I know it's that, but it's about when I'm having a good day, I want to be doing something, you know. I don't want to be sitting at home. I can easily sit at home now, not go anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have that pittiness of being at home, not really going out anywhere, apart from maybe a little walk outside the house and back again. So no, I thought, no, I'm not doing that. I want to get up, be fit. The little one's going to be there. I want to go and see her at hospital. I want to be able to push the pram. I want to be able, you know, that sort of thing, because it's going to be young anyway, like he says, you know. So I want to be there for her, help cushion up, and you know. So yeah, so helping and talking it's certainly helped me to get myself out of the house. You know, I think if we weren't going to be doing this or talking about this the way we are, I probably would have still been at home sulking, you know, and only going out for doctor appointments and the like. So yeah, so
good job. Well done, you, James. I was going to ask you to share a golden nugget, but I think you've just shared it. Yeah, that's your golden nugget for us.
Golden nugget would be to talk about it, you know, talk to someone.
Yeah.
Who's going through, maybe not an expert, even someone that's gone through it. Just talk to someone that's going through what you're going through. You know, it's amazing how it helps. So.
And I think also there, from your point of view of recognizing changes in your bowel habits and pushing, going to seek advice from your GP, your doctor, medical practitioner, whatever it is, to follow that up, because it's so important.
The one regret I have was where I had that, my bowel movements not being the same. I mean, we're looking back at 2/7/2018. I keep looking back thinking, when I went to the doctor, I should have been more stronger, telling him, look, this is my body. I know my bowel movement. There's something not on it. But, you know what I mean? Not just taking the doctor's word and what have you, and then taking some pills and going away. Because it makes me wonder at that point, with what happened, you know, where I am now, if you look, you know, 7 years down the line, maybe catching it earlier, you know, how things might have changed. But I don't want to dwell on that too much.
No.
I honestly say that you know your body, and if your bowel movements are regular the way mine were, and then they change for that little thing, is be pushy to your doctor. Be not forceful, but say, look at my body. There's something that I need further investigation, not just a tablet, not just, you know, it's just an illness, you know, it's an infection. You know, really be vocal. You know, you know your body. The doctors don't tell them, you know, and get it checked early. The slightest change. Don't wait. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, James, for taking time, because right now your time is super precious. So I value your time and your vulnerability in sharing it here today with us and our listeners and audience. And I want to say all the best as you continue to navigate this journey. And again, I'm privileged and honoured to be able to walk alongside you for the next lot of months, weeks, whatever it may be. And you are in our thoughts, you're in our prayers, you and your entire family. And thank you for giving us your time today and your little nuggets, golden nugget of truth there. And so I just want to say to our audience before signing off that if you feel or recognize any difference in your bowel habits whatsoever, speak up, advocate for yourself, go and seek medical help and advice, and don't leave it, because you deserve to have the treatment there and answers for what is going on in your body. If you, our audience and listeners today, have any questions in relation to the content that has been talked about here today, you will be given the opportunity at the end of this podcast to pop any questions you have on there. And then in our episode next week, I will address those questions and we will give you some answers. I am also going to share James's handles here. You can follow him on social media if you want to do that, but I will be sharing on my social media some of James's journey as we go forward to keep you guys all appraised of his situation. So James, once again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being episode 1, and oh, kind of emotional now. This story will stay here forever, and yeah, it's been a special one today. So thank you so much for your vulnerability, and we are sending you so much love and prayers right now. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys, tune in for next week where we will bring you another episode here on the Bowel Chronicles.